podcast listeners, if you hear my voice right now, I need you to do something for me. I want you to take out your phone or on your computer, go to Apple Podcasts, search for Ask Your Oldhead podcast. You'll see my logo, my little picture, my little image there. Find the show. Please rate and write a review. It's a small thing, but it helps others find this work and find what I'm doing here. And it really, really matters, as small as that may seem. So if you can please do that before we get into the show, I would much appreciate it. Thank you for listening. Let's get into it. Peace.
Peace. I'm Majestic.
My brother, Justice Rajee.
All right. So as we are here today, we just want to add on about a couple things, and not let the year, the calendar year wrap up, without a couple thoughts. And wanted to start off because you shared a clip of Oschino on somebody's podcast, and I got it saved over here. It's on the Let's Keep It 100 podcast. I guess that's the name of the podcast. And, I guess at the moment, as it seems to be the way in the world of podcasting and in this age of media, where a person of some note, has a couple appearances somewhere. I don't know if Oschino got like a book coming out or something else, or if it's just his time on the rotation. I already know how this works. Right. But this particular clip, because, and it's framed around him talking about Charleston White, the Memphis Bleak, and Fabulous. And I'm not really here to get too much into like the deep content of what he had to say about those people. I mean, I'll leave that for the person. I'll put the clip in. But it was something that he was saying in the way that he was saying it. I mean, one, Oschino's hilarious. I think that's the first place to start for those who may not know, or maybe he's just hilarious to us. As as someone who I would say has behavior is from a behavior set and a mannerism and a style of approaching life that is akin to our own. In different proximities. I mean, obviously be from the other side of the water. You from the same side of the water. But also that there is a sometimes even being out here where I'm at, you remember that it's like, oh yeah, there is a way like people just behave. That's like, yeah, I'm more like that. Like I understand exactly where he's coming from. Even if I don't totally agree with everything he got to say about who he got to say it about, I get it, right? Right. But he also framed some of that in that discussion, which maybe wouldn't come across in the way it's shaved. That's like, look, we doing this media thing, similar to like if you was doing making music. And you got thick skin. You got to say people say stuff. You got to own stuff you said, and then you have to basically be like, yeah, I be drawing, like I be wild, but whatever. So I just wanted to get some of your thoughts on that, but also that this sort of premise, because I think a thing that has started to bubble up, at least some of my social media channels, is people's sense of media literacy, right? And now that we have this product and social media that I think has sort of outpaced people, and now I think it's starting to like catch up, so to speak. Like it's starting to come into where like, okay, this is whether it's vetted or whatever, it's a legit way that people learn about the world, right? In these different vehicles. And so within that, if you are a person of some note, again, there are people who want to hear what you got to say about the world, and then we go from there. So I just wanted to get some of your thoughts on that piece, but also that thought around like where we're at with sort of communications and whatnot.
Yeah, I think, and thank you for that lead in. I'm gonna touch it on a couple different levels. I think the first one is this whole our generation, Gen X, are the people who we said we kept it real, right? Like we the young people,
keep it real.
That was the
faking
thing.
the funk.
You're faking the funk. You're keeping it real, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Dave Chappelle and his comedic genius put out When Keeping It Real Goes Wrong. And so there's part of the whole thing, and like you said, we'll have to go into the politics of the street politics and the Philadelphia politics of Oschino versus state property or Fabulous or Charleston White. But there's this thing of like, oh wait, so hold on. We now have a industry that we know is kind of like mud wrestling. Like we actually have gotten to a point where guys who did stuff in the street was official in the jails, men of honor, all that kind of stuff have now said, listen, I'm going to do funny and crazy shit for views. You know what I'm saying? So it gets rid of all this keeping it real. And again, we had music that was like, yo, if you talk about it, you better have done it. Don't project anything that you're not a part of. And now 30 years later, it's like, no, say what you need to say to make the money you need to make, because the music industry has fallen apart in the context of most people knowing how to do well with the music industry and trying to keep up with the constant shifts of that. And so whether it's the music industry, whether it's the NBA, whether it's the NFL, you just now see all these people opining in ways about things. And I think in one place, and obviously, I'll say it right now, thanks to the work you've been doing, the work I've been doing, the work Knowledge Build, we were relatively early in the podcast space. I'm not going to say we wasn't before Combat Jack. So I think there's Combat Jack, and there's everybody else, right? But we were relatively early in the space, and it was based on you had to say something interesting, you had to be authentic, you would have a position. It's now kind of become a mud wrestling thing of we have to argue.
Yeah.
I was watching the Gilbert Arenas joint with Kenyon Martin and all of them. And now they went from really talking basketball to arguing. They argue all the time. Yeah. I like Joe Budden's podcast, but they argue all the time.
Yeah.
They just have interesting people on there. So I think there's a step above for that. But I think this mind state of it's just media. Because we know we're doing it for clicks. The challenge is it starts to reduce the conversation to a very base level. And that's what I'm concerned about, is that no one wants to hear a nuanced conversation. They want to hear you cuss somebody out. They want to hear you overtalk somebody or say things about people that might be true. Like Oschino talking about Meek Mill wearing the same outfit as Diddy. That's Sean Combs. I mean, that is objectively true. We saw it. He did call him, "I love you, Daddy." He said it. You know what I mean? I wish he hadn't said it. And I'm not talking about nothing with no one's orientation. I'm just saying, I wish he hadn't said it like that, because now we wouldn't have to talk about the fact that y'all took a picture with a midget or small person. Pardon me. Get myself together there. Small person. With matching outfits on.
Yeah. And
but you did though.
Yeah. Yeah. They're without the man, I wonder what else was happening that day to make this makes because it just seems weird. It just, I don't know what to do with that. Because who talks that way? Why? And then, it's a Oschino's hilarious. Like that. We don't though. Nobody wait, daddy. Who you calling daddy? Don't call him grown man daddy.
Who you calling daddy?
You call your daddy.
Why are you in the pool, and why is the small person there between y'all? So
what is going on?
He didn't lie. I just do think we've gotten to a place kind of similar to, and I don't want to take this allegory all the way to somewhere, but similar to, there was a time people hey, man, I'll sell this, but I won't sell this. Or I'll do this, but I won't do this.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then eventually people be man, I got to get paid.
Yeah. And but it is it's once you agree that there's a price, the world will eventually figure out what the price is. You know what I'm saying? The circumstance, it is very. We've wrestled with these. I think we've discussed the bigger we've made certain choices in our life in terms of the things we do, to have a certain sense of service or focus, right? And that it wasn't just oh well, how much they paying? me to go over there and do whatever it is, right? Like whatever it is, we made some, light jokes about the Kawhi situation and like, yo, is that the kind of jobs they giving out here if you get to that level? I mean, like, is there like a junior league of them kind of jobs where they like, yo, Justice, you just got to be silent on this issue for a couple years and we'll let you get this, 300 racks. This no work, 400 racks job for 2 years. I'm like, man, is that's what's happening? Is this the options? Right? Like, yeah. But once you agree that there's a price in theory for what you will be in reality, whether it's true to who you are or what you will accept to be attached to you as like a media, as a media figure or public figure or whatever. Then the markets are going, hey, well, what's the price? Like how much will you use unnecessary profanity in your speech, in your conversation, because people are going to click and watch it, right? You know what I mean? Even to the degree that like people who are like, hey, I'm the super realist dude. So you may again, a lot of unnecessary inflammatory language, but like as if you're not also a thing. You're also right. Like,
and that's a whole nother thing. End of the year. So I would say that I am a student of history in multiple ways. One being student of Black street culture, African American street culture across the country and actually across the world. So it pains me to say what I'm about to say here. I don't want to see no more of you old gangsters on TV talking about what you did and who wasn't there when you did it. If you didn't get in with the feds and Don Diva, if you didn't get in early,
right,
let that go. Because what it does actually cheapens. No other community tells all of the story. Even with all we've seen from the mob.
It's still a lot we don't know. We have like unconfirmed sources, like
right. Or even Joey Merlino and the mob were about South Philly. Joey Merlino's not talking in the thing. If he's talking, he's getting paid for it, I guess, on his thing. But like, he's not telling you the whole story because the whole story harms people. The whole story has other stuff that still could have reverberations. And we have to figure out whether it's through, the ways we communicate with each other. It all can't be sold and told about every street figure and what happened. Frankly, especially if it always ends the same way. Like it doesn't end up like, what somebody figured out that they wanted a steel making company instead of selling drugs. Right. And now they did this. Like it doesn't end up like that.
Right. They successfully took that ill-gotten gains and pivoted out to the real estate industry. And now they're one of the best developers that are feeding the children on food.
Right. If you got away with that, cool. If you didn't get away with it, I get it. And I'm gonna say specifically here, I get that the brother Prince has come home from the Supreme Team and he wants to tell his story, and I get a lot of that. But just in general, this idea of our media literacy and furthermore, how do we help our children understand what's unconfirmed sources? How do we help people understand what may be true and what may not be true? And how do we get to a place where, just like on the radio dial, there's Howard Stern, there's NPR, there's Christian Talk Radio, there's a lot of stuff, but not having everyone be Howard Stern. And kind of where I think we're going right now is everybody's Howard Stern.
Yeah.
Everyone's some version of a stock jock.
Right. There's an emphasis that the salacious is either more true, or it is like either like it doesn't matter. So just be wild, like say the wild, salacious, thing to get people pulled in, or that's how you're going to break through, and people are going to pay attention to what this vehicle is or what this is for. I mean, I think especially on the context of when we get into like things and great, and as you frame this in terms of the gray economy, I think discussing those things without any larger social context is, you know, it's bad because then it presents this idea that the person who may have been involved and at the top of some sort of multinational string operation of moving the illicit substances, as if their conduct was independent of a structure that encouraged people and created a market for you to be to be the top of the food chain, or a linchpin, or the hook inside of a what is ultimately an internet part of international trade that we don't like to keep on the GDP books, right? Like, and there's a place for the personal memoir, right? I think in someone in those worlds, but I think even and I, as a person who is not a journalist by training nor interest, I am more I guess my training would be an historian. I have a degree in history. I could before whatever that counts for in
Smart
terms of
yard.
that,
You want to
right?
smart yard.
Smart, yeah, I'm saying. And then my other entry point into these to discuss the world is that of I would say like an artist. Like we write, we talk, we make music, we dabble in these other things, but we got stories to tell, questions to ask, and conversations to be had. And but I respect and understand the role of like a journalistic approach to something versus a narrative approach or a storytelling approach, or right. Like these are important parts of, if you want to know about something, right? Like, yeah, it'd be dope to hear like the firsthand account from the person that did it, right? Now I want to hear some of that same story, but from like, a third party journalist who might look at it with some other eyes and may feel they need to source things. And then I also want to hear about that situation, maybe from some storytellers that's not even about the main actors, but like, hey, I grew up in that neighborhood at that time, and this is what was happening with us, right? Like all of that stuff gives you the full picture of something from the past or what have you. And so, in any event, like some of the things like in that space, even in his Oschino piece, is like it is like recent history and the dynamics between people, and like people heard about things, and like, yeah, why did y'all, and then also always gets all kind of to the like, why did the band break up? Right, like what happened with state property? What happened with y'all being on Rockefeller? And like what, like when Jay went this way and this went that way, and all these other things that people do have legitimate kind of musical interest in, right? And like that is understandable, but it also is a like, y'all, we would think you would still be doing music together, or it could have been this, or could have been that, and it is also like very super manly man acceptable gossip talk. You know what I'm saying? There's an aspect of that. You know what I'm saying? Because if it was,
I want to say this: is it acceptable?
I don't know.
Right? Because I think just because you dress something up in a macho thing doesn't make it manly. And I think we're at a place where we got to have this conversation. If there's a part where you can say about someone, I have a challenge with who they are, what it means for them to be who they are, and all that kind. Yes, but then when it starts to be like, I think you're this because you're this, or you sat with this person because this happened, you're bringing people into business that's not theirs. You're bringing up trauma. You're bringing up street culture around people who are still experiencing it, right? Because it's one thing to say, like you said, like, okay, in 1988, I said I sold this much. I sold this much weed. Maybe someone could talk about it. Maybe they can't. And it would be good also for people to have some repentance. Like,
at least a little
again,
bit.
I think that we talked about, I think I sent you to join with Akbar Prey from Newark, who, was talking to Killer Mike and talking about like, listen, no, I was wrong. Like, they caught me and I should have went to jail. Now, maybe I shouldn't have went to jail for 35 years.
But I owed something, and
I
I
owed
don't deny
something to
that.
people and I harmed them, right? Or, Prince, the brother Prince from the Supreme Team, like him saying, listen, man, you know, I did things and, I come out to be able to help and teach people and teach them to be better. And that's one thing different from like, you're an alleged abuser to this person and you know, the streets know that you do this, but it's like you still bringing people got to watch that.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's cousin still got to watch that, even if it ain't even if the person themselves, like, you know, when I don't give you said it, someone else's family, that causes other stuff. So it's one of those things where, if I can go here, it's like this challenge with commerce and capitalism, or turbo capitalism, or, you know, where we're prepared to just get to a base level for money. And we're prepared to do for money things that have a long-term negative impact. And then the only answer at the end of the day was I had to get paid. Right? That just makes you a shill. It doesn't make you have any principles. And especially coming from, again, people in a time where principles was supposed to be the distinguishing factor and what made you important and what made you respectable and what made people listen to you. It was actually in the fact that you were not a shill and that you were who you said you were, as we would say.
Yeah. And I appreciate that, because I think the other, like, aspect again is like, what is the reason that you are making this space to record and talk about something, right? And creating, you know, this form of media, and is its value just sort of the like, oh, we get the scoop from this person, and then the next step is we're gonna get the scoop from that person, and then but we really don't got no end goal. Like, there's no larger ethos or reason why we're doing this besides that we think it's, you know, we're into it, or we think that someone else is into it. They're like, maybe we'll find a brand deal, and then we'll do this, and then we'll do that, and then we'll do this other thing, and you know, it's like there's no. You would want, at least I think in art, like you would want there to be some something of value beyond just the, like, how far can the content run, but the energy that surrounds us is sort of like, well, how far can the content run? Like, will it get us to, you know, all that did 500,000 whatever, or 2,000, you know, like, you know, all right, like, then we won and we did it. Like, that was the mission. The mission wasn't you know, and then it gets to be a more complicated conversation, not that complicated maybe, which I could see a person who, especially if they were the person who was an actor in a thing that other people tell stories and fables about, being like, wait a minute, everybody else get to run around and make space in the world and make hay, and people look at them about some stuff I did, but I don't get to do it. Right? Other people get to be, you know, again, and even, you know, to their credit, the feds and the Don Divas of the world was like, but yeah, these are like real, like, these are stories that other media won't cover. So we're covering them, and we are actually covering them. You know, now I'm sure there's probably a media educator somewhere who could let me know how good Don Diva was or wasn't at its sources or whatever. But, like, you know, it did have, when it was, you know, a mag that was out there, it did have a, like, you know, we're not just gonna make up stuff and put it in here. We're gonna try to be as accurate and appropriate, and even still have some sensitivity to, like, yeah, if we talk about somebody shooting somebody in here, like, yeah, the family may not be like cool with that. With us talking about that, you know what I'm saying, and that there could be negative repercussions. You know what I'm saying, and yeah, it was just like, you know, like, I appreciated though in the clip, like, him kind of going like, I know basically to me, but like, look, I know part of this is me that, like, I'm gonna say some wild stuff up here, and like, yeah, I mean, but I'm gonna be up here, I'm gonna say it. Like, I'm not gonna run away from it. Man, like, I'm drawing, and I ain't gonna act like I ain't drawing.
He knew he was drawing, man. He knew he was drawing. He is hilarious though.
Yeah,
That beat
so
that.
God.
I don't know why they.
What you talking about, Charleston White socks? Was it socks? Somebody,
Yeah, you talking about the socks? His eye.
So yeah, I mean, I thought that was something, you know, so I put the clip in there, and, you know, those who wish to click and see what we talk about and why it got to this thought. But also, I think it's important, as long as, you know, as developing these things in these ways to create space to discuss the world, that, like, you know, we do want to have some, you know, there got to be some sort of, at least for me, it needs to be some sort of value system that is behind, or, you know, what's some direction that isn't just like, you know, because if it was just about making money, I mean, like I said, I probably get my hair cut the right way and just start talking real reckless about the world or something. Like there's an angle, like it's always right there. It's like it's almost. I would think about it like when we was making music, and I got some thoughts about people. We'll save for the reckoning conversation if we have that at some point. At least what the producer or the director said they were trying to do, which was as much talk about the thing was to talk about like us as a society and how we kind of empower or allow blah blah blah. Not necessarily a new thing to talk about with celebrity madness, but the point thing being, there were people when we was making music that pretty strongly told us, you guys with all this, y'all got stuff to say about the world stuff. You know what I'm saying? We trying to dance, Justice. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to hear all that.
Absolutely.
All that off the wall, back to Africa shit y'all talking. You know what I'm saying? Like all that God body. Y'all take that. You know what I'm saying? We try to talk about where the drinks is at, where they're gonna be shaking it. You know what I'm saying? Without any, even if you say righteous stuff with a good beat, we don't want none of that. We just want foolishness. You know what I mean? Anywho, we'll say that for later. I'm not bitter at all. I don't hold a grudge. You know what I'm saying?
Hold grudge, arms like Arthur, with your hands like Arthur. Don't hold no grudge.
Look at his face. So I wanted to close us though just with it don't need to be 3, but just a couple 2025, highlights or something to exit out. And it could be, personal, cultural, entertainment, life, planet Earth, amidst a lot of the wild stuff that's going on planet Earth and last
year.
And
I do think you make a good point about, we like to talk about the wild stuff. We know, people are talking about it, they're experiencing it. And I want to say that some people are experiencing all the wild things that then we like to talk about. Like I had the pleasure/displeasure to reading an article about like the mechanics of how ICE picks up people when they go to court for the hearings, and how people are coming for something that literally a year ago was they be in there for 10 minutes and go back out, and they may never see their families again.
Right.
And what does it feel like when you have to experience that? And I mean, so it was a good article that illuminated a lot, but it was bad because it's bad. But I do think part of resistance is finding joy in your life to continue to fight for others to feel joy in their lives. And if you can't find no joy in your life, that pain turns within. And we have a lot of examples of revolutionaries and movements that didn't center the wellness and joy of their people. And they're around as ideas now, not necessarily organizations. Because organizations have to be interested in, and movements have to be interested in the wellness of their people as well as the intent and righteousness of their goals. So the first thing that I think was a success for me this year was both of my children had kind of landmark years. They probably be like, oh man, he's talking about me on that damn podcast again. But Azania got into and started attending Bryn Mawr College this year to get her master's in social service in the macro section. So she, just that being a dream of hers, and that being also where her grandmother attended grad school. It was big. And not that legacy has to be connected to colleges per se, right? I know a lot of people got feelings about that, and they want to argue about Polo's Morehouse and Spelman collections. That's for another time. But but there is something to be said when you create institutional awareness and legacy, and people can see the line and through line of people coming through that particular place to all, in this case, for education. That was big for. And for Messiah, he wanted to come out here and play Rock'em Sock'em Robot and get hit on the field. but he was able to do that this year. I love my man. He was able to
goddamn
get out
make
there,
contact out there, making
make
contact.
and so he was able to actually have his first, run track and run football and play football in the same year. And he actually just made the traveling 7-on-7 team out here, the PA Goblins. So, so shouts out to him for that. You know what I'm saying? He want to run around, catch footballs, throw up signs with his hands.
They're doing all the little funny dances and stuff. They do
all the dances he does. They all know it. Listen, man.
I don't know where they get this stuff from.
The blank that we used to talk about, that it would take weeks and months to get to your neighborhoods. It takes days now. Between that and quarters, if they all do all the same dances. So yeah, so like that for me, that for me was one.
Word. Man, so last thing about Sundays, I mean, I'll start one that in like through the year I've been involved in I'm a elected official in my in my community, but pardon. Through that I got plugged into some learning spaces, and also participating in organization Local Progress, which is like a sort of progressive local politician organization around the country. And in that space I've just gotten to know a lot of really like cool, phenomenal people that are like serving their communities, and then that I'm a member of the leadership of the Black Caucus in there, and it's just been like a great chance for me to be to serve other people through the year, and but also like it's not a I guess I say there's reciprocity in the service, because I'm like getting great things from being connected and having a snapshot of like what is happening in other communities and how other people are showing up for their communities, and like the diversity of thought, diversity of what it means even to have largely shared values as it pertains to like the value of public service, right? But then also it's like, oh wow, oh you people, that's cool. I didn't know that was happening there. Man, tell me more about that. But also getting feedback from other people that like your presence is valuable to them in a similar way, right? Like where we're sharing things and learning things. And so that's been just a really great space for me this year. Like I said, be having a little, not just being present in the space, but also, contributing, some level to leadership and making it a space that's valuable for others, has been really dope. And, I'm looking forward to more, kicking in that circle, and as a make friends all over the world. I mean, so I pop up different parts of the country. I can, tell me where I should go get a sandwich. You know what I mean? Or if I happens to be there, I ain't had as much free time as brother might want. But I'm just saying. You know what I mean? I got he knows people, friends, all walks of life and all that. So
absolutely,
it's been a highlight.
The other piece I was thinking about was actually this. I think the work we've done this year has been a highlight. I think the podcast is more popular than ever. Evidence as people that I don't know listen to the podcast. Somebody listened to the podcast. I had somebody in New York talk to me about the podcast that they had just listened to with debating the one about Nas and Daylight.
Oh, okay.
But did it in like a political event, like, yeah, man, like you were saying on the podcast. And somebody else was like, oh, this person? Oh, yeah. I know you do a podcast. And I was like, wait, I do a podcast. It was people who I didn't know knew I did podcasts. Like, yeah, you did a podcast. And so I think it's been a good year. I think the topics, the ideas, and just the ability to, I think, share a unique position in the space, kind of similar to the radio example I gave earlier, right? Like, there's a lot on the radio. And I think where we inhabit and what we're talking about, I think is really important. And I know we got a lot of exciting stuff that we be talking about, that we be thinking about, that it's going to hit in 26.
Man, we out here,
Just want to let y'all know. It's 26.
26, here it comes.
It's coming just with some very unique ideas and some more good stuff. But yeah, I just want to say, I don't want to say as my brother, but also partner in this work. Thank you for your vision and, for your constant being present and being able to think about having a position and being able to interrogate your own position and then being to work with someone else as you interrogate your own position and it don't turn into a shit show. And I do think we have to give that more credit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because again, like we're talking about, it could be easy to turn into a shit show.
Yeah, absolutely.
For it to be liked where, I'm no number cruncher in the context of this, but I know when people like something and people be listening to it. So if all y'all be listening to it, you keep listening, you tell your people so we can get paid like the coons do.
Hey, we get one of them no work contracts. You know what I'm saying? Let us get one of them no work contracts. I mean, we don't need the Kawhi joint. Like I said, I started like a 6-figure joint.
Let me say right now for everybody, we don't need
that.
We need sponsorship.
Yeah, like we could go like enough. We could go like to Basel or something, or we could come to like the next if we ever have a Black World Congress or the African. What was the one these had? Like a couple of one of them super black meetings.
African World Congress, yeah.
Like what if we go to one of the super black meetings or something? You know what I mean? Nothing too much. You know what I'm saying? A little something I could get a nice lunch or the off day to think about my thoughts. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, damn, I'm a little tight this week. You know what I mean? That's all I'm looking for. That's all I want out of this. I don't need to like go.
You want to wet your beak like my man?
Yeah, I'm gonna wet my beak. You know what I'm saying? Well, let me wet my beak, man. Like we're not trying to pilfer the community, you know what I'm saying, with all this conversation. We want to be in a reciprocal collaborative engagement with those who enjoy what we got to say, because we know we just might be talking about it, but we ain't the only ones thinking it. You know what I'm saying? We know that's why we talking, you know what I'm saying? Anywho.
And we know that people are listening and they're thinking about it. And again, I'll stop here. One of the positive things that I do think these spaces create is a form of community, not community because we've debated it. We talked about this whole thing, but a form of community where they're like-minded thinkers. When they're like-minded thinkers across the country and across the world, there's a lot of other possibilities. So, I think it's been good to do that and continue to connect with people who are listening and thinking similarly and building those bonds. Because especially, I will say for Black folks, frankly, community is becoming more of a complicated concept than I think any of us would have expected. That wasn't on my bingo card 30 years ago that like in many spaces we wouldn't live by each other in communities. Like that what we call communities, it would be more broad and frankly in a lot of the places that Black folks say they want to be, the communities are very spread out, and there's a lot of stuff to that. But yeah, so just salute to you, salute to this, and that we got a lot of good stuff coming in 26.
That's another one that I mean, it's still it's a highlight. Mean from a creative perspective. I really enjoyed Sinners, and the thing that I enjoyed about it is I had space to get away from it, and then you look back. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's a movie, and like anything is a movie. Like I mean, it's very rarely that you keep watching a movie, no matter how good the movie is, over and over again, right? Like even I can recite every word of Coming to America, live as the movie plays because I've watched it a lot of times. I'll probably watch it again, but I haven't watched it in a while, right? As much as I enjoy it, and I'm thinking of that, I might, have some fun. It's still that time of year where it's like, we working? I don't know. I think we are. We trying. We're doing our best. We working on working. But I think it's I guess as you got to this point in the end of the year when you say mainstream media or the varieties and the whatevers of the world, the juxtaposition of just something at the end of the day that was just a really good movie and really entertaining and a great snapshot, framed within the lens that is familiar to our community, and found such acclaim and people were clearly into it and liked it, but also it was a good movie. Like, I don't pay to see but so many movies per year in a movie theater, and you got me out to it, and I didn't leave like, well, at least I supported the brother. I left going, man, that was good. I'm gonna go watch it again.
Yeah, you ain't
Right,
with the black.
it
You
is,
ain't with the black play. I supported the brother.
yeah, because we I'm still from one of them. See, I'm still the type of black person that's gonna go on the first weekend because we want you to be successful. I might not really like it, but I want you to be successful. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna put my 15 down or 11.99 if you get it to the matinee or whatever. Try to get there by Monday because that still counts, to the weekend earnings, so that you could be successful. Even if I'm like, nah, I don't know if it was that good, but I went. You know what I'm saying? Keep it up, keep going, brother. Don't sister, don't stop making the movies. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a good movie. It was a good cultural moment locally. Like, I think I shared at the time, one of the movies here that, Black folks put together a couple screenings for Black folks to be, again, and I remind people, consuming art sometimes in the company of people of your community altogether is different than maybe doing the same thing with just whoever happens to be there. It does change the experience, same way like they say, traditional theater, like when you see it in theater and the way the crowd is feeling that night and the actors, and every performance is slightly different. The movie itself wasn't different, but the experience of the movie was different. And I think those moments are things, especially in the midst of what we're dealing with. And we, as I think a community, are like, oh man, we back to this one. All right, well, let's see how we're going to maneuver, shoot, shake, and groove, and get through this. Remembering sometimes those touchstones and those joyful, man, we had a great time. That was a great night. That was a great night. You know what I mean? It's something that always I think should be appreciated, because you don't get as many great nights as you think you're gonna get. You know what I'm saying? When you some of y'all young folks, it's gonna be so many great nights. It's like, not as many as you thought.
Go towards the median.
Yeah, you talking like, oh man, that was great. That wasn't a great night. This is a real stinker I got going right now. Woo! So yeah, I think that's a moment, a highlight for the year that like I said, I'm gonna hold on to. It's a good thing.
So this is real quick. I'll say one highlight, because thank you for the art take. I didn't take a lot of art. I took Superfine at the Met this year, and the idea of that, which I thought was really important. Another thing is kind of adult avant-garde hip hop, and I'd say that through the lens of the rapper out named Errol Holden, and one of the gods, but also how people are into Stove God right now, and different art, which is I'm not being in the whole topical concept, right? Because I think the Clips did a very good job, but I think there's a thing where 40 in the kind of a takeoff what we're talking about, but doing avant-garde music of not every song has to have the same kind of beat.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it kind of sounds like poetry. Me and Niles Bill had this whole debate about Errol Holden and some of this other music. Man, where's the 2 and the 4? Man, this is poetry over jazz. And there's a whole debate, is it poetry over jazz? And whatever. But I mean, in the general context of avant-garde hip hop, and I think people doing things that match as we get older, you can have traditional stuff. You can have stuff that is a little more challenging. And I just want to say that I think that's important for the music. So that's it for me.
Oh yeah. I think, I do too. Well, centers. Okay. So they my closing highlight is I would just say in a broader sense is in family. For me, in the full traditional African American form of physical family, and my kids, doing largely well, figuring out their young adult life as people that are now both over 18, which is it's interesting. It's fun. I have 2 over 18-year-olds, so you look out for, and are also doing their life stuff. My partner, And my earth and us and our long-term relationship here and where that's going, family that we've had in the house, and checking on my physical family, my mom and my brother back home, uncle, getting to spend time with one of my cousins recently, like, for all the things that family is, I think, more popular in our current, last on the last few year, I would say 7 or 8 year run. Family is, partly because there's one, very vocal political party that sort of talks about family a lot, but don't behave real family-ish, and another party that tries not to talk about it because they don't know how to talk about it without feeling like they're talking bad about family. in terms of the two large media influences and like cultural influences, not so much like from a strict policy perspective, but that is sort of the sourcing of how we end up talking about family. So then you get people that like family conversations, social media, your feed may be filled with people talking about how they deal with their family members they don't get along with, right? Or the other side being like, how I want to have a family, right? Like an object, not like a thing that you're a part of or a real bond. But it's hard to say that, like, I have like a real family. You know what I mean? I got good brothers. I got people that look out for each other. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, when I say in the full African American perspective, that is of the fictive kin and the physical kin, meaning that family is family. And if you're in the loop, you're in the loop. And I think it's just something like through the year, a lot of the good things that have happened with me has happened with, with my family. You know what I'm saying? Whether it's time well spent, seeing people I haven't seen, or connecting with people, or reconnecting, or remembering things and or reliving great moments, or seeing also, my family, my brothers and all y'all, like things that they wanted to do come into fruition, and being able to celebrate those successes with them, through this year, as brothers, as family, as sisters, as folks who are connected and care about each other. And it also has helped me to be centered in like what that means to me in terms of what's most important. And then it keeps me locked in with like people, just to be clear, get on my last nerve. And I'll be looking at them like, I have chosen to use my powers for good. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to keep choosing to use my powers for good. But
Hey, Judge, you be
are
putting out these
testing
failed
me.
threat. You be putting out these. You be putting out like the Jay-Z, the Jay-Z blue. Like, what was it? Aaron, what was that song we was talking about? Nas and the. Oh man, it's not blue. It's on the Blueprint album. But like, what do you say? You know what? Did you know what? Did you know who? Keep that between me and you. You be putting out the veiled threats.
Look, I'm trying, man.
Enemies.
Look, man,
Take over.
I'm trying, man. I'm trying to stay on the top of the 8. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to read it the other way. But y'all. But it's, it's like, people be walking around like they boo-boo those things. It's like, oh, man, it's you, though. But it's cool. Go ahead, man. Go on. Bless your heart. You think bless your heart, as my Southern brother sister would say. That's right. All right now, baby. You ever like an older sister be like, all right now, baby. Good to see you. Right. Kind of like, go on. Conversation over. Yeah, like we can't keep talking. So, yeah, man. But family has been, it's helped me really be centered. But also, again, like, what is it that I'm, trying to be for, beyond myself and with myself, like I'm in it and I'm of it. You know what I'm saying? Like the fishing, oxygen is all around us. We breathe it, but we might not act like we need it, but you do. So, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. The family's been cool this year. I mean, we've got a lot of fun things, a lot of good things, a lot of growth, and I just want to see more of that. So, cheers.
My man. Well, there it is. Thanks to everybody that been listening, and get with us on the other side of the Gregorian calendar.
All right, don't let the calendar be a limitation. Let it be a manifestation. You know what I'm saying? What you want to do in the world. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, see, look, hold up, man. Don't give too much up. You know what I'm saying? It's a little bit, though. Yeah. So with that, anything else? Want to say peace? Nah. All right, we'll say peace.
Thank you for listening to Good Brothers. Thank you to my good brother, I'm Majestic. Good Brothers is a part of the Ask Your Oldhead podcast feed and a part of the creative stylings of your one and only Justice Rajee. And as you've heard, you can support the podcast by rating, subscribing, sharing, and all those things wherever you listen to podcasts. You can search me on Patreon and become a patron. You can go to AskYourOldhead.com and buy a t-shirt or a sweatshirt. You can just cash app a brother, Justice Rajee. Just put the two names together, you know what I'm saying? It's only one. It's only me, baby. In any event, be safe in the next year. Thank you for listening, and we will keep coming. You know what I'm saying? It's coming. Everything's coming. It's all happening. So y'all be safe out there. Peace.